battle for Ukraine's Pokrovsk escalates as Russian forces press on. Russian forces claim to have captured dozens of buildings and house-to-house fighting in Pokrovsk as Ukraine's hold on the strategic frontline city grows more tenuous. As Pokrovsk has become the fiercest area on Ukraine's front line this year, the fighting for the city now resembles some of the bloodiest and longest battles of the war, notably Bakhmut in 2023 and Avdiivka in 2024. A week ago, Ukraine vowed to launch an intensive defensive operation in the area, while Russian forces claimed to have encircled the Ukrainian troops defending the city.
Проходите туда!
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has described the situation as difficult, adding that about 314 Russian soldiers are embedded within the city's districts. Video provided to RFE-RL by Ukraine's 7th Rapid Reaction Corps shows Russian soldiers in and around Pokrovsk being targeted by Ukrainian drones. The enemy's #1 goal is to occupy Pokrovsk as quickly as possible. This goal remains unchanged, Zelensky said on November 8. Andrei Hanatov, Ukraine's chief of general staff of the armed forces, said Russian forces have infiltrated the southern outskirts of the city in an attempt to establish a foothold for further advances. Ukrainian soldier Andrei confirmed to RFE that Russian forces were advancing in the area, says the Kremlin's efforts to capture the city continue despite growing number of casualties. They're using an incredible number of personnel, but again, dozens of Russians are being destroyed by the brigade every day. In the last 4 months, we have killed or wounded about 2,000 Russian soldiers, Andrei said. Attempting to storm Pokrovsk and neighboring Mirnorat, Russian forces are trying to seize key roads leading deeper into the Donetsk region and to open a route toward the Dnipropetrovsk region. While the future of the front line in Donetsk remains uncertain, Moscow appears to be achieving at least one of its objectives. Through combined drone and missile strikes on the cities, Russia has been depopulating frontline areas, leaving its troops with a clearer path through largely abandoned towns and minimal civilian resistance. As a result, most residents have fled Pokrovsk, the former industrial city of 60,000, which now lies largely in ruins. Fierce fighting continues to engulf the eastern city of Pokrovsk as Russian forces press a prolonged campaign to seize this industrial hub in Ukraine's Donetsk region. Once home to some 60,000 people, Pokrovsk has weathered more than a year and a half of relentless bombardment. Now, the battle for the city has entered a critical phase. Western military analysts say Russian troops have steadily edged into Pokrovsk's southern outskirts, wearing down Ukrainian defenses and using worsening late autumn weather to move men and equipment closer to the front. The fight, they note, has settled into a grinding contest of attrition that has stretched Ukrainian units thin. Even in those conditions, Ukrainian formations, including those from the 25th, 7th, and 68th Brigades, continue to hold parts of Pokrovsk and nearby Mirnorat, a small city located around 7 kilometers to the east. Artem said the clashes have intensified in recent weeks as Russian troops resumed mechanized assaults. They sent about 10 armored vehicles at once toward our positions, he told the Moscow Times. Normally, we can destroy them quickly, but with the fog, rain, and low winter clouds, our reaction time is slower. We destroy most of them, but some still manage to break through and drop off troops inside the city. Michael Kaufman, the military analyst and senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment of International Peace, said Ukraine's 7th Rapid Response Corps, which assumed responsibility for the sector in July, has struggled with deteriorating conditions and limited reserves, with little room to maneuver. He said commanders have been forced to shuttle scarce resources from one threatened position to another. On the ground, Russian units have pushed into the Shakhta district, the city's industrial center. Once they get in, it's almost impossible to dislodge them, Artem said. They hide in basements and tunnels, wait for reinforcements, and move house to house. That's how they advance. Like Bakhmut before it, Pokrovsk has become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance and one of the last major cities in southern Donetsk that Russians must take before they can attempt to push toward the cities of Avdiivka, Kramatorsk, and Sloviansk. During a visit to a military hospital in Moscow late last month, President Vladimir Putin claimed that Pokrovsk was already encircled. That assertion was swiftly rejected by Alexander Syrsky, Ukraine's top general, who wrote in early November that Ukrainian forces must withstand the pressure of any enemy grouping of several thousand men, which continues to attempt to infiltrate residential areas and cut our supply routes. However, Syrsky said there is neither an encirclement nor a blockade of the city.